Welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive into something that could really shake up our digital world, decentralized physical infrastructure networks, DePIN. Think about a future where things like data storage, computing power, bandwidth, all that essential internet stuff isn't just run by a few huge companies. Instead, it's like spread out, democratized. DePIN basically pulls together unused resources from all over the globe. And that's having a huge impact on blockchain, sure, but also on AI.
Oh, absolutely. It's a fascinating mix. DePIN essentially gathers up lots of smaller computing resources, and
Yeah.
what that does is, well, it opens up access to AI infrastructure for more people, right? So you're less reliant on the big tech players. It's really becoming a game changer for AI development. So today, let's unpack four key projects: Filecoin, Theta, Render, and Akash. Give you a shortcut to understanding their potential, especially looking ahead to, say, 2026.
Okay, great. Let's start with Filecoin then, a real pioneer in decentralized storage. So this is a network where basically anyone can rent out their spare hard drive space, yeah, and they get file tokens for it. And it seems targeted at enterprise cold storage, that long-term data and archiving.
Exactly. And what's really interesting, maybe even surprising, is who's already using it. We're talking serious institutions. Filecoin's holding massive archives for the Smithsonian, for MIT. But get this, CERN's Atlas experiment. They're using Filecoin now for multi-petabyte physics data. That kind of data usually sits on slow tape backups. Filecoin is making access way faster. It really signals a shift. Decentralized options aren't just cheaper sometimes. They're actually performing better for really critical stuff.
Wow, petabytes of physics data. Faster access. That's impressive.
And didn't they just announce something new? An alliance with SingularityNet, the AI platform, trying to link that storage directly to AI work. That's right. And that's a huge leap. AI needs so much data for training, for running models. Integrating decentralized storage directly means AI can get that data more reliably without single points of failure. It breaks down those old centralized barriers.
Okay, so Filecoin tackles data storage. Now let's pivot to Theta Network. They started with decentralized video streaming, but now they've jumped into the GPU cloud space, right, with Edge Cloud, specifically for AI. And GPUs, just to clarify, that's the graphics processing units driving modern AI.
Precisely. And the scale Theta's achieved is pretty amazing. Over 30,000 GPUs contributed by the community. These are powering AI research for, 30-plus universities and institutions.
Yeah.
And here's a fun one. Olympique de Marseille, the French football club, they partnered with Theta. They built an AI smart mascot running on these community GPUs. But there's a point to consider here. They currently rely quite a bit on AWS AI chips, which raises a question about potential centralization risk in a decentralized network.
Oh, interesting. So a potential centralization risk. How big a concern is that? Are they trying to move away from that, or is it just like a necessary step to scale up right now?
Yeah, I think it's mostly the latter for now.
Yeah.
A pragmatic choice for performance and getting going quickly. But it is a valid long-term concern. Their roadmap does talk about bringing in more independent GPU providers, maybe even developing their own hardware down the line. So the goal is definitely to reduce that dependency. It's a balancing act.
Got it. Okay, next up, Render Network. This one's about decentralized GPU power too, but more focused on 3D rendering and also AI inference, right? Inference being like the real-time use of AI models.
Exactly. And the big news for Render is their Solana boost upgrade. That's happening August 2025. They're moving the whole network to Solana. The idea is to seriously ramp up speed and cut costs, especially for those big AI jobs. And you can see the demand is already there. In July 2025 alone, they rendered, almost 1.5 million frames. That was an 18% jump in just 1 month. Shows artists and AI developers are really jumping on board.
An 18% jump. Wow. Okay, finally, let's look at Akash Network. People often call this the Airbnb for cloud compute. Big claim. They're aiming to be way cheaper than the big cloud providers, like up to 90% cheaper for general compute, CPU, and GPU stuff.
Yeah, they're definitely ambitious, especially with AI. They just integrated NVIDIA's latest Blackwell GPUs. Those are super powerful for AI back in August 25. And they launched Akash at home, letting regular PCs join in as compute nodes on the edge. There was a case study with an AI startup, Envision Labs. They cut their GPU costs by around 30%, generated over 100,000 AI images just using Akash. So it's proving itself in the real world.
Okay, but 90% savings, or even 30%. That sounds revolutionary. What's the trade-off? What challenges might you face using Akash compared to, say, AWS or Google Cloud?
That's a really fair question. The cost savings are definitely the big draw. But with Akash, you're working in a more distributed peer-to-peer setup. So maybe less hand-holding than you'd get from a big provider. Node performance, uptime could vary a bit more. You might need to be a bit more hands-on managing things. But for users comfortable with that, the price difference and the access to top-tier hardware is hard to beat. It depends on your needs, really.
Right. So pulling this all together,
Mhm.
what does it mean for you listening? These DePIN projects, they aren't just ideas on paper anymore, are they? They're actively building this new decentralized infrastructure, from storing priceless data with Filecoin to running AI models with Theta, Render, and Akash.
Exactly. You've got this huge demand coming from AI and Web3 merging, demanding more compute, more storage. Traditional systems are struggling to keep up affordably. So if even just a small part of the world's infrastructure shifts to these decentralized models, well, that could fundamentally change the digital economy, making powerful tools accessible to almost everyone, not just a handful of giants. It's really about who gets to build the future.
Definitely something to keep a close watch on. The journey for these networks in 2026 could be incredibly transformative for all of us.